The best golfers, they don't just swing away. They survey, strategize, and then execute. And right now, we're staring down Q4, and most leaders are making the same mistakes I see weekend golfers make on Saturday. They grab their driver, aim for the middle of the fairway, and throw a prayer and hope for the best. But here's what separates grass golfers from weekend warriors, and what separates legendary leaders from those who are just trying to survive Q4. It's not about the power, it's about the precision. And over this episode, I'm going to show you the exact tee box strategies that turn one manufacturing company's worst quarter into one of their most profitable, using lessons I've learned from the golf course and my 20 plus years of leadership in operations space. You're going to stick around to the end, because I'm going to share the ADAPT framework that will help you reach your goals and increase your revenue before the end of the year. Hey, I'm Myles Threatt. Thank you for joining me today for Legacy Leaders Lounge. I help ambitious leaders just like you build a lasting legacy no matter where you're at in your leadership journey. Every great shot starts before you ever grab that club. Look, when I'm stepping in that tee box, I'm not just seeing a fairway. I'm paying attention to what the wind's doing. I'm looking at what hazards are out there. And I'm also looking at opportunities I can create for myself on that hole. And this is the same way you need to start reading your business landscape here in Q4. You don't need to be just looking at your Q4 numbers right now. You need to survey the whole landscape at this point. And here's what most leaders miss. Just like the wind affects the ball and flat on a golf course, market trends will affect your strategy. Are you playing into the winds of economic uncertainty right now? Or do you have some tailwinds of industry growth to help you? See, last year, I watched a competitor launch an aggressive Q4 strategy, and they were ignoring all the supply chain headwinds. They missed their target by 40%. Meanwhile, we adjusted our approach, focused on efficiency over expansion, and in the end, exceeded our goals. See, on the golf course, the pin isn't always in the same spot on every hole. Your customers, their priorities will shift. In Q4, what are they focused on right now? Is it cost saving? Is it innovation? Is it reliability? So your strategy should change based on that pin placement. If you've ever played golf, you know every course has hazards. Same thing in business. Same thing in operations. There's all kinds of hazards that you need to be aware of and mindful of. What are your Q4 hazards you're seeing right now? We've got holidays coming up. You could have cost problems or budget freezes right now. You might have decision fatigue. And guess what you need to do? You need to plan around them and don't pretend like they don't exist. If there's one thing I learned in golf is that your lie is going to determine a lot about your swing. It doesn't matter. Your uphill lie versus your downhill lie swing are going to be very different. Just like that different approach you take to the lay of the land and way that ball's lying on the course. How about your team? Is your team energized right now and ready to push? Or maybe they're just burnt out and tired and frustrated. Could be a tough quarter right now for you and your team. Your strategy is going to need to match your team's current state. Now that we've read the landscape, it's time to make some crucial decisions. The club you choose determines everything that happens next. Most weekend golfers, when they stand at that tee box, they grab the same club every time. They're going to grab that driver with no thought to the layout of that hole. A lot of times, most business leaders do the same thing. They default to last quarter's strategy or last year's strategy or best practices, regardless of the situation, regardless how things have changed. But look at this. You got 14 different clubs in that bag you can choose from. You can choose driver, 3-wood, hybrid. Might be time to take an iron. Just find the middle of the fairway. Each club has a specific purpose. Just like each club has a specific purpose, each business strategy serves a specific situation. On the golf course, if you want to maximize distance and risk, then go grab that driver, grip it and rip that thing. And you use that approach when that fairway is wide open and there are no hazards for you to be worried about based on your swing. And the same thing in business. Hey, you got strong market conditions right now and you got the resources to handle the volatility that could possibly happen. It's time for you to grip it and rip it, man. And right now, maybe things are going great for you. And it's time for you to make some of those big investments in your business and bring on some of those new people right now, because you can take that risk and you see the goal ahead of you. And you know that, hey, if I make these steps and that this situation is the right situation for me to grip it and rip it, then you need to do that right now. You don't need to wait around on it. And this is not the time for you to play safe. This is time for you to go for it. But maybe your conditions are different. Maybe you just need to grab your 3-wood. You're going to lose a little bit of distance compared to your driver, but you're going to have a little more control. And maybe what you need to have right now is that control. Taking that 3-wood out is like having the perfect conditions for growth right now, but you can't afford to take a major risk. You could be faced with taking one of the most versatile clubs out of your bag. Could be need to grab that hybrid right now. And that gives you some power, but also gives you a lot of precision. I know for me, when I need that power and precision on a golf course, I'm going to grab my 3 hybrid because it can give me the distance and accuracy that I'm looking for. And just like in golf, if you're faced with market conditions right now that are all mixed up and you really need to be adaptable at this point, that's when you grab your hybrid. And it might be that time for you right now. Let's just say you're stuck with a decision right now. That decision is you want to either make an aggressive expansion or you just want to conservatively hold in place. Then choose the hybrid approach. That will give you the selective innovation to help you get the expansion and the results you need right now and protect you from some major risks. And sometimes it's all about accuracy and control in business and in golf. And when it's on the golf course and it's all about accuracy and control, you better grab that iron. And I know what I'm going to grab. I'm going to grab my 5 iron. So I know with my 5 iron, I can consistently put it 200 yards in the fairway and play it safe. And if you're in a situation right now where you need to hit a specific target with minimal risk, it's time for you to grab that iron, put it in the middle of the fairway, take that risk out of the equation. I was working with a manufacturing company during 2022, and they were dealing with the supply chain crisis that everybody else was faced with. And we had to switch to an iron strategy at that point. We focused on operational excellence. How can we reduce waste, and then how to retain those customers? We were able to do that by taking that approach and being profitable at the same time. Did we meet our big goals that year? No, we didn't. But we were able to maintain profitability. And maybe that's the situation you're in right now, and that's what you got to do. So just like you're stepping up that tee box, you should have a process you can go through to help you select the right club for the right situation. And some things to be thinking about, even in your business right now, related to that. It's like in golf, we think about the distance to the target. Same thing with the size of your Q4 goals. What are some of the obstacles and hazards that are out there on that fairway, on that course? You need to look at the challenges and constraints you're dealing with right now in your business. It's like in golf, we think about what margin of error. In business, you need to think about how much risk you can absorb. Finally, you're going to look at the course condition on the golf course. In your business, what's the current market environment telling you? Those criteria will help you move forward in Q4. But here is where most leaders mess up. They choose their strategy without considering the biggest factor. This shot could make or break your round, just like your Q4 decision could make or break your year. It's like that water on the golf course. You can choose to play it safe, or you can just kind of go for it. Playing it safe as opposed to going for it could be the difference between birdie and bogey for you. Sometimes you gotta choose that high risk, high reward path. It's like going for the green in 2. I just did it the other day. Hit the perfect drive in the middle of the fairway. I was 210 yards out from the green on a par 5. Yeah, there was sand trap on the right there, but I wasn't afraid of that sand. I knew I could get up and down from there. So yeah, it was time for me to go for the green. But hey, there was another par 5 I was on, and I put my drive in the rough, the thick stuff, very thick stuff. And it was sitting up where I could take my 3-wood and try to put it on the green. But for the life of me, I couldn't do it. And there was no reward because I lost a golf ball. So maybe you're in that point in your business right now. It's time for you to go for it in 2. And it's the right risk reward shot for you. Could mean that it's time for you to launch a major initiative right now. Maybe you need to be making some significant investments, and that risk reward will pay off for you. You know, I've seen it work with a company. They were willing to make the investment, even though the times were uncertain. But it was the right investment at the right time. But it turned out to be important gains for them. But it was the right situation at the right time. They made the right move. You know, just like when that drive was in the middle of the fairway, taking my 4 hybrid out and trying to put it on the green, that was the right shot, and I did it. I was right on the green. I was on in 2. I was putting for eagle. So maybe right now it's time for you to go for it in 2. Or it could be time to play it safe and lay up. That's what I should have done on that other par 5. I was in the rough. I should have just grabbed my 6 or 7 iron and just put it in the middle of the fairway and give myself a 100-yard shot into the green. That's what I should have done. I didn't do it. I didn't play it safe that time on a golf course. But maybe it's time for you in your business to play it safe and lay up and get yourself set up for an easier shot. Sometimes you got to play smart. Sometimes playing it smart is the best way. And for you to take that smart risk assessment, you got to be able to analyze the situation. What's your current position? Are you leading in the market right now, or are you just playing catch up? Your risk tolerance changes based on your position. Then what are the scenarios you're dealing with? Best case, worst case, most likely case? I would plan for all 3. You'd sit there and think about it for yourself. Maybe you need to make that automation move right now. Maybe the worst case is it takes you 18 months months to pay it back. Best case, maybe it takes you about 8 months to pay it back. Most likely, it's going to take you 12 months. All of those cases are acceptable. And think about your alternate options. What's your plan B and C in these situations? Maybe your plan B is just to grab your iron, lay up, and put yourself in the middle of the fairway and give yourself that 100-yard shot that you're comfortable with into the green. And what are your resource requirements? Do you have the resources to execute and recover if things go wrong? And finally, what are the timeline consequences? Q4 has unique timing consequences for us all. We've all got holiday schedules we got to deal with. You got budget cycles you're dealing with. You got year-end deadlines and year-end goals you're still trying to reach. So when should you play aggressive in Q4? If you're behind on your annual targets, the market window is closing, your competition is playing conservative. You have some strong cash options. If that's you, it's time to play aggressive. You play conservative in Q4 when you're ahead of your targets. Your team is at capacity, market uncertainty is high, and your resources are stretched right now. It's time for you to be conservative. But whether you choose to be aggressive or conservative, there's one framework that ensures you execute flawlessly. My DAP method starts with awareness. It's just like you're on a golf course. Before every shot, you got to gather all the information that's available to you. You got to know the yardage, you got to know your lie, you got to know the wind. Where's that pin position at? What's the layout of that hole? And in your Q4 right now, that means you got to give yourself an honest assessment. Where do you really stand at this point? Not where you hope to be. Where are you actually right now? How much awareness of your own present situation do you really have? And then what awareness do you have of the market, the trends, the business in general? I was working with a manufacturer that discovered their inventory was screwed up, and they had to be honestly aware of the situation and be honest with themselves where they stood. And that awareness changed their Q4 strategy completely. After that awareness, you got to make some decisions. You've stood over the ball, you looked at the landscape, you looked at the layout of the hole, you know the wind conditions. It's time for you to make a decision to select the right club for yourself right now. And the same thing happens in your business. And most leaders, they'll get stuck in analysis stage here. They have the information, but they can't pull the trigger on the shot that they need to make. And right now, you need to make a decision. You need to select the club. You need to have the right mindset about it. And you need to grab that club that you have the most confidence with in this situation for yourself. And you need to make that swing. It's time for you to make that decision. Stop over analyzing the data. Look at it. Look at your situation. Be very aware of it. And then make the best possible club selection and swing that you can make. The next part of the ADAPT model is adjust. Even after you decide on your club, you're going to have to make some adjustments based on the conditions. You got an uphill lie, downhill lie, side hill lie. You got wind picking up. You're going to have to make some adjustments in your golf swing, in your setup. And those are micro, small adjustments. And the same thing's going to happen in your business decisions right now. You just made the decision. You're going to have to make some adjustments along the way. One client I was working with, they were planning a major product launch in Q4. And 2 weeks into it, they were getting some customer feedback that was pointing that they need to go in a different direction. And instead of stubbornly sticking to their plan and their goal, they adjusted. And they ended up making a successful launch for themselves. But it was only because they were willing to make the adjustment. They took the data, the information, and they made the adjustment. It's no different if you feel like, hey, you stepping up to that ball right now, and you grabbed your 5-iron and you're going to go for the green, and then the wind picks up, and next thing you know, you're just going to hit a knockdown shot because that's what the situation dictated in the moment. And after you adjust, it's time for performance. This is when your execution meets preparation. Same thing on the golf court. If you've practiced that swing and practiced that shot and it's calling for that shot, you've prepared ahead of time. I was listening to an interview of Scotty Scheffler today from a reporter asking about, does he think about what determines his mindset when he's playing? Is it expectations? What are his expectations of himself? And he goes, I don't have no expectations. It's all about performance. It's all about him doing the right preparation ahead of time to prepare him for that game, that match, that shot. He's done all the work ahead of time. And when it comes time to performance, if you have prepared strategically and appropriately in your business and in your role, and you've done the work, you've put the work in, you know that you can stand over that shot with confidence and make that shot. You can stand over that decision and make that decision, and you can perform at the level you need to perform at. See, all that planning means nothing if you can't execute. And I've seen it happen in manufacturing too many times. Perfect strategy strategies failed because of poor execution, and average strategies succeeded because of exceptional execution. But you gotta put the work in. And finally, trust. You gotta trust your preparation. You gotta trust your decision. You gotta trust the adjustments you're about to make. You gotta trust your execution. Second guessing in mid-swing is going to cause you to miss that shot. You're going to shank it in the damn woods somewhere. See, once you've done the work, the analysis, the planning, the decision making, just trust the process. You can't micromanage this shit. This micromanaging and second guessing yourself is killing your momentum, and you just need to stop it. Putting that ball pin high on the green is perfect execution of your strategic plan on the course. And here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to grab your phone. I want you to pull up your notes app, and I got some notes I want you to take right now. All right. And those notes, here's 3 questions. I'm just going to read them off to you. Write them down. Put them in your notes. What does your Q4 landscape really look like? What strategies match my current situation? Where am I playing it too safe, and where am I taking unnecessary risks? Answer these 3 questions honestly to yourself, and you'll start Q4 like a pro and not a weekend warrior. If you want to make Q4 the best quarter of the year for yourself, grab a copy of my book, The Adaptive Edge, Leading with Purpose in Turbulent Times. The link will be in the description below. And remember, the best golfers, they don't just swing away. They survey, strategize, and execute. Make Q4 your best quarter yet. I'm Myles Threatt. Thank you for joining me for Legacy Leaders Lounge. Subscribe if this helped you think differently about strategic planning, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll talk about the biggest mistakes leaders make that kills their momentum going into the new year.